Welcome to Beyond Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Petrellis, and we are super excited for today's guest. As you guys know, I'm a huge wrestling fan. Once in a while, you see my posts, wrestling music, everything else. But I also have been really lucky over the last couple of months to be working with Royal Crown Wrestling, which I think is a great promotion. We've covered twice, and I love these guys. These guys are synchronized drinking their drinks right now as I'm talking with the Step Brothers on there. And so I already know we're in for a good show. But I've been lucky to work with these guys, and Jose there has been great. And he mentioned these guys to me actually a little bit from DMing back and forth. And then I saw these guys live. These guys are in front of me. If you're listening, listen. If you're watching, you see them. 17 Jump Street. They got their shirts on here. They had a ton of swag there. They had a huge following there. I felt like everybody was going crazy for them. They got a kid involved during the act. These guys are 17 years old. As you heard me, 17 years old, professional wrestling tag team. And they put on one heck of a show. D-Rex took one heck of a bump, and we'll talk about that in the show. But I was really honored to get these guys on here. I reached out to, I think, one of their dads. We'll call him their manager. We'll call him manager. But it was really cool because these guys' story is really interesting to me. You know, I worked hard to kind of build this and started from the bottom, and these guys are young and they're doing it. And if you watched them in the show, you would have never guessed their age and and how mature and how look like they've been wrestling for. So this will be a lot of fun. So without further ado, I'm going to get their names right. I asked them twice because I didn't want to say it wrong. But on my left here we got D-Rex, and on my right we have Picture Perfect Rocky. Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's awesome. First off, the background A plus plus. Where are we right now? Where are we?
We're in the man cave right now.
That's unbelievable. What arcade game are you playing the most back there?
I'm more of an NBA Jam guy. I'm yeah,
Okay.
right. I'm a Raptors fan, so I'm disappointed most of the time when I play, but still a fun game either way.
Is that like Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady NBA Jam?
Oh
What
yeah. So I
is it?
mean,
Okay.
in the game, I'm a happy man, but in real life, no, it's a sad team.
And you got Drake constantly making you guys do, every time he's there, he curses you guys somehow too. So you got to stop that. But I see NFL Blitz in the back. NFL Blitz is a huge one in my house growing up. That was the game, my only game my dad could really know how to actually play and compete with us in it. So that was huge in our house. That was a huge game. So I love the background. I think it's an all timer on this podcast for sure. So yeah, I just had to say that. But let's talk about you guys are young, and we were talking a little bit off air here. You guys mentioned that you started wrestling about May, June of 2022. So doing the math minus three, about 3 years. I mean, you guys started young, 14 years old, middle school, maybe beginning of high school. I mean, has there always been a love for wrestling? I mean, where does this journey begin? I know you guys have two different paths here, so whoever wants to take this one first, go for it.
So yeah, my dad was huge into wrestling, and when I was like probably like four-ish, he introduced me to it, and just instantly I was hooked. Like I think I started watching around like 2011, 2012-ish. So like my main guy was John Cena, obviously.
Yeah.
I didn't age very well looking at it now, but that dude was like my hero. And it was just the coolest thing to me, like how just a sport and like entertainment. It's like watching a movie and a fight all at the same time. It was just so cool to me.
I mean, so let's talk about the Cena change here for a second. What were your thoughts? Being a Cena guy, that was your guy. I'm just so curious of like a young kid who grew up being like, loyal, hustle, loyalty, respect, like, number one, make a wish person. Like, what was your thought when you saw that?
I mean, like it's tough because like I'm one of the people that did want to see it for a little while, but at the same time, I feel like we both said like our inner child died that day.
Yeah.
It was a sad day, but like again, it was just like a that was crazy to see, and especially the fact that he aligned himself with The Rock. That
I
was my first
mean,
Mania I ever watched was him versus The Rock. So it's like that all that all kind of blew my mind.
I mean
The
that
first thing I
match,
thought,
God, the hype up to that match, damn.
the first thing
Picture
I thought
perfect.
was I
Talk to
tell
me here.
D-Rex.
You
Uh,
what?
the first thing I thought of was, oh, I gotta call D-Rex. As soon as I seen it,
I mean, God, and I love that it was even like a Saturday night, right? Like,
oh yeah,
even when the
Mm-hmm.
pay-per-view used to be Sunday, like I love the move to Saturday night because God, it's hard to wake up the next morning when it was especially one of the major pay-per-views. I mean,
yeah.
WrestleMania goes on forever, you know? So I was happy for the Saturday night move to all the
Trust me, we,
pay-per-views.
we agree. Going to
Yeah.
school the next day is not a fun time.
No, it's brutal, brutal. I mean, dating back to when I was a kid, because you're up late that night, and then you're up watching, for me, Raw and Nitro.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that next
same here.
night, dude, that was just like flipping the TV back and forth for 2 hours, 3 hours, like all the time, you know? So that's funny. So picture perfect. Talk to me a little bit. Where was your start? How did it go for you?
So it was like the summer, school just ended, needed something to do, and I always loved wrestling. My grandpa always had it on the TV, so I kind of just grew up around it, and I was always into like the big, larger than life, just everything about pro wrestling. So yeah, it was uh, eighth grade year just ended, and I reached out to the company about helping out and stuff at shows, and then they're like, "Why don't you just come down and train? You seem like a bigger kid." I've always had like the build.
That's awesome. So you guys met there. You guys went to the same training facility right around the same time. I think one was there maybe a little bit before the other, but you guys we were kind of joking off the air a little bit. I mean, you guys are there. Obviously, you're there to compete, right? You're there to get better. You kind of make your move. Kind of get your spot. Like maybe figure yourself out, who you are a little bit as a wrestler. So how were you two at the beginning? Were you guys wrestling each other, training against each other, and where did the teammate idea, tag team, kind of come from?
So I started training like a month or so before him, and at the time he had a lot going on too. So like it was hard to make every practice, but I saw him walk in one day. I was just like, huh, okay. And then I heard that he was my age, and I'm like, I don't really like that because that's what I was known for at the time because I really just started. I was like, oh, it's the 15-year-old kid. And later that night, I was just scrolling through Instagram and I saw a post. And I saw this kid in like the middle of the ring. I'm like, this is the guy? Like, really? This is the one that's trying to take my spot? And then, man, like November 2020, was it 23 or 24?
For what?
That birthday party.
I think 23.
Yeah, so 2023, like November-ish, we were both wrestling at a kid's birthday, and there was like maybe 4 or 5 guys that ended up going, and we were the two of them. So I'm like, all right, clearly I'm gonna have to talk to this kid at least a little bit. And we got to talking, and I saw like the whole gimmick that he was trying to go with, the picture perfect, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of down with that. And then we got put together because I had a concussion at the time, so I was like his manager essentially, and he was going with the whole picture perfect social media thing, and it made sense because we were both teenagers. And then we just started talking and like formed a crazy bond just because obviously we both grew up watching wrestling. We watched the same movies, same shows, so just kind of formed a bond that I didn't really expect.
I mean, that's great. I mean, and obviously, a lot of people go into training. I'm sure they're thinking about, climbing individually as a singles wrestler. And is this synchronized? I gotta know. Is this was something you guys cued? Like, if one of us grabs the mugs, the other one. I think it's great. I've seen it 3 times now, so I gotta ask.
I don't know. It's just a
This
17 Jump
happened.
Street thing.
So,
I love it. I love it. All right. So picture perfect. What would you say? Like similar story, kind of same idea. What's your version of you guys kind of coming together a little bit?
so at first, when I heard that there was another kid my age, I was like, "Oh, we could probably have a good match together or something." And I was like, "But what if we did a team? Like we were an alliance? Then like we could take on the world." So kind of just
That's
happened
great.
like that.
So rewind to this kid's birthday party. You wrestled at a kid's birthday party. Set this up for me. What was this birthday party? How old was this kid?
Like 10, 11 probably.
Yeah, probably like 10 or 11.
So they
And
brought in a ring, or was this like a hardcore match, like on the lawn?
So it was right at the training center,
Oh,
like that we go to, and they had actually, ironically enough, that's how I started training there. Was
both of us.
yeah. So he actually, when he was like,
I was
you
like
want to tell the story?
4. Yeah, I was like 4, and obviously loved wrestling. So my mom was searching around, like, what could she do for a wrestling themed party? And then she found the training center. So 4 years old, I had my birthday party in the ring, getting in there with some of the wrestlers.
that's cool. That's really cool. God, I want to do my son's next birthday party like that, to be honest with you.
I did the same thing actually. I wasn't 4, I was 14 because I'm
Hey.
much cooler. But it was during COVID, and the gym was still like renting out. So I was like, "Ooh, this sounds like a pretty cool opportunity." And so me and just like direct family went there and just kind of messed around in the ring. And I'm like, "Yep, I want to do this." And that's when I started training there a couple months after.
Cool. All right. So you guys have set up a great picture here. All right. Now, my question is you become tag team partners. Saw the little flash. I love it. You guys become tag team partners, but obviously it's developing all of this 17 Jump Street, what you guys do, who you guys are. How do you begin to kind of transform yourselves? I mean, how much of this is your personality every day versus the gimmick of who you are?
It's not a gimmick, it's just a
Yeah.
lifestyle. I say it all the time. Like, this is literally just us every day, just goofing off, having a good time, making the best out of everything.
I
That
love
was the
that.
whole concept too. When I wanted to team with him, is like we have so much in common, and I like literally since I was little, I've always been told like you have a big personality, you should do something with it. And I noticed he was the same way. And like I'm not trying to like dump on you or anything, but when he first started, he was super shy,
Oh, yeah.
and then we started to talk a little bit more, and I feel like just us teaming as a whole brought out something in him, and this is the best I've ever seen him, like for sure.
I mean, that's so great to hear, right? Because God, I think about like my first interviews where I go back and listen to my first interviews, and I was so like, blah, 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 like I was just kind of like such a, everything was just like a robot when I talked. And I started realizing, man, I'm definitely not being me. And as soon as I started being me and a little bit more funny and being putting a little bit more stuff on Instagram and showing that, immediately I noticed a rise in our views and I noticed a rise in our followers. So I think you guys are onto the right thing as far as it's a lot easier just being you, and figuring out how that works and what you guys do. So I kind of love that approach. And the whole idea, the whole jump up, the outfits that you're wearing, I mean, colors, purple, white. I mean, I covered a football team that won the Super Bowl. They wore purple and black, purple and white. I thought it was sharp as anything. So where'd you guys kind of come up with that kind of graffiti-esque, t-shirt logo?
So the first one we did was pink. I was just wearing pink at the time, and when we got thrown together as a team on a show, it wasn't really planned. So I had an extra pair of pink tights that I let him borrow, and then pink just kind of became our color. And then yeah, we turned into the blue.
Oh, is it blue? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
This
It looked
this
All
one's
purple.
right,
blue,
you're all
yeah.
good.
Okay, okay, my bad. Here I am hyping up there and I'm not even getting the right color here. It looks
Hey,
purple in
you
my
may have gave us
eyes.
a new merch idea though. Purple might go
Hey,
hard. I'm not
listen,
gonna
I'm
lie.
just telling you, they won a Super Bowl. They were tough.
Yeah,
Wait, so that blitz in the background, is that blue or purple?
that is a great question. So NFL Blitz is over there. That
Yeah,
one's like
what
a
color is that mainly? Blue or purple?
it's like a darker blue.
Okay, because
We got
that's
the
what your
cinnamon
shirts look
one.
like. That's okay. So I think that looks like purple.
Hmm.
Okay, my bad, guys. My bad. I am old. Um, so how many times though? I saw you guys obviously wrestle as a team. We'll talk about that. How many times have you guys wrestled together as a team before that?
One,
Before
two.
wait, before the last show?
So I saw you guys at Royal Crown. How many times have you guys wrestled before then as a team? A lot or just a few
Oh,
times?
Like maybe 6 matches.
yeah,
Okay,
about
so
six.
not a lot. I mean, guys, damn, I thought you were gonna say a lot bigger number if I'm being totally honest. I mean, that's even more impressive of kind of what I saw. All right, so let's talk about the 6 matches you had, and then we'll specifically talk about the match that I saw you guys. Compare yourself match one to match six. Where do you, each of you, I'll ask you this each as an individual question. Where do you see yourself better as a wrestler, better as a team? Like, where have you gotten better in 6 times working together?
So I mean, for me, the first time that we teamed together, I was actually coming back from a back injury. I fractured my L3 vertebrae, and it was my first match back, and we were just thrown together. So I'm like, oh man, all right, let's see what we can do with this. And we just kind of meshed, and obviously it wasn't the greatest match ever because it was my first one back. And I've wrestled as like in a tag team before, but this is easily the most chemistry I've ever felt. Like we just clicked in the ring together, and honestly, compared from match one to now match like 7, I just I see a future with this tag team more than I ever have with another one.
That's cool. That's cool. Picture
I'd
perfect.
say
What would you say?
I'd say our first match, it was kind of just us doing like our own thing in the ring. Like we would tag in and out, but like we wouldn't do like tag team moves or have like that tag team chemistry. But now, like up to this point, now it's like we're just flowing with it, just tag team stuff.
Do you guys have a tag team that you watched growing up? And we mentioned some of the individual wrestlers, but is there any like tag teams that like I don't know, like sometimes you might look at film or look at old video and say like, are there any tag teams that pop into your head early on that you guys have paid attention to or looking at stuff and saying, "Huh, we could do something like this."
I mean, in our once we found out that we were being paired together for that first match, we were both wearing pink because that's the only thing I could really think of real quick because he had the extra set of tights, so we wanted to match. I'm
Yeah.
like, we were both thinking like pink and white. That's pretty synonymous with the Heart Foundation. So then we came up with actually it was with help from my dad too, Papa Rex. We came up with like a variation of it where instead of because I always use the neck breaker instead of the clothesline, hit him with the neck breaker instead, and we've been using that since. So like that was definitely a huge influence. What about you?
I actually think I might have video of that. I gotta look now that you say that. I think I actually do
Well, if
have
you do, send it right over, please.
that.
Uh, like he said, that night when we found out, we're just kind of trying to think of stuff. So I didn't really like tag matches before as much. I didn't really pay attention to them. But that night, I started studying more tag matches and stuff and what could we do to be better in the ring as a tag team.
Yeah, same here for sure.
That's great. The Hot Foundation's a great answer. I mean, God, talk about a tag team that was great. Bret Hart just maybe got greater than it, right? But that is God. That is a great tag team for a very long time. Now, speaking of tag team, you guys faced was it Los Toxicos? Is that who you guys
Yep.
faced? I mean, so I think I've seen those guys at the first Royal Crown show that we were at. More on the side. I don't think they were wrestling in the ring, but they were pretty funny. I thought they were great. Going into a match and working with another team, just as a huge wrestling fan, I'm just like so curious. I mean, how long I so when I walked in, I saw people in the ring working together, people talk on the outside that were going to be going against each other in matches. I mean, for you talking with another team a little bit, how much of that pre-planning is like important for you guys to maybe understand like the flow and chemistry of a match that you're going to have?
So I say like we have a few big spots beforehand, knowing what we're gonna do, and then the other stuff like the little stuff in the heat and stuff. The heat is what we call it. Like we could call it in the ring, like help each other out, but it's definitely a lot easier with three other brains to use instead of just you trying to come up with a match. It's a lot easier with other people that know what they're doing.
I would also say too, like going back to the first match compared to seventh now, Los Toxicos was our second match back.
Yeah.
And what, like our fourth match probably?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the gauntlet. So we've gone to work with those guys a couple different times and they're awesome. Like really for whatever reason, since like we started teaming together, they're the ones that we flow with the most. It just naturally happens. They give off that Eddie Guerrero heel vibe,
Yep.
and everybody hates them, which just makes our job easier because everybody's gonna love us because of how much they hate them. So we've gotten the opportunity to work with them a couple different times, and they're like big brothers to us, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's
I
been really
mean, they're
cool.
great. They're pretty funny at the first show we covered in Medford, like with the crowd, like the stuff they were saying. I thought they were. I sent them a couple things, being like, I caught this, guys. I thought this was so funny. That's great to hear. Now let's talk about your match at Royal Crown. What we saw. One really great thing I thought you guys did. I don't know if you knew this kid or not, but during the match, you kind of got a fan involved. You pick up a little kid, you pull him aside, he stuck his feet out, battering ram, and then you kind of delivered him back. Did you know that kid?
I did not.
That's awesome. Okay, that's even better. I have that on video. I think I sent that to whoever's dad.
I did
That
see
was
that one. Yeah.
that was probably the coolest clip that I thought we caught of the night because it really came out of nowhere. It was just right place, right time. I mean, talk about that. Was that planned or was that kind of spur of the moment thing?
So it's a mix of both because for one, that's something I knew I wanted to do for a while because I remember being like probably 7 years old and I went to like a local independent show and somebody went in the crowd and had the kid slap him in the chest. I'm like, man, I would love to be that kid right now. Like the fact that he just got involved in the match. So naturally, when I'm put in that position, I'm like, oh, I can make this kid's night. So I, a couple minutes before we were going out, like different theme songs would hit, and none of that section over there knew me. This was our first time at Royal Crown, so they're all new fans. But I saw that they had all purchased like trading cards and 17 Jump Street shirts. So I was like, oh, okay, clearly they're fans. And I would hear them like occasionally, every theme song hit, they would ask if it's D-Rex and Rocky. So I'm like, oh, okay. Clearly, I think that they would enjoy this. And when we went out, I noticed him jumping up and down in the crowd. And anytime I would get knocked down, he'd be like, D-Rex, get up. So I'm like, okay, that's the perfect one. And I I hit, I think it was Sebastian, right? Yeah, Sebastian. Right in the face. I saw the kid. I'm like, I need your help. Picked him up, used him as a battering ram, put him back. He said it was awesome. So I'm glad I gave him that moment
Yeah, I mean, I
because
kept the camera on him afterwards for maybe like 5 or 6 more seconds, just in his
yeah.
face, and I don't know if it was his brother or his buddy next to him. He was like, "Oh my God!" Like it was a really genuinely cool moment in a show like that, especially for a little kid. You guys were once upon a time there too. I mean, when I used to give my like rah rah speeches, I was a high school football coach for 15 years, a head coach my last few before I had twins, and I used to live on my speeches. I'd be like, coach would be like, "That was a great speech," but that was kind of like the whole point of it was like there's some little kid, like especially like your Thanksgiving ones, like there's some little kid
Oh,
out there who's
Oh, hold on.
you were once. Did you get me? You got me?
Yeah, you
yeah.
froze for a second, but I think we're good.
All right, perfect, perfect. Happens. That's the world of technology. But what I was saying, maybe Zoom's telling me to stop talking, but that's the speech I used to give on Thanksgiving was always like, you were once that little kid watching number 13, watching number 75, watching number 50, being like, that's going to be me someday. And now you're that person. And there's some little kid watching you out there and that you're going to make their day or you're wearing their number proud or whatever. Like, and that's the same thing. That kid definitely went home and told everybody in his family. His mom and dad probably videotaped it themselves. They sent it all over social media. And what a cool thing for you because that obviously puts you guys on the map in a small way as far as that goes of like, oh, that was unbelievable. And people are clicking that and paying attention to that. Do you find social media as like a tool for you guys? Or are you just kind of getting started using it? I mean, how are you guys using that to kind of get your stuff out there a little bit?
So obviously the picture perfect gimmick. Social media was always going to be a tool to like get me out there more and stuff and get us out there. And it's definitely helped us a lot, especially with his video with the top rope thing that we'll get into after. But that's gotten like crazy amounts of views. And as soon as it happened, once we knew that he was okay, I was like, dude, this is gonna go viral.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'll tell you what, I caught that clip. And then when I went through all my stuff, I go, "Oh my God, I got this," because I thought I kind of missed it. And I was like mad. I'm like, not that I was like mad that I missed you, almost break your neck, but I mean, like I thought the same thing virally. I'm like, God, this is gonna go viral. And then when I went through, I was like, I did catch it. So I sent it to Jose because I also like I didn't want to be like showing off on my social media. You get it. I didn't know how if you got really hurt. Like I didn't really know where you stood with that either. So I wasn't necessarily. So I sent it to Jose. I was like, you can do what you want with this. Like, but here it is. So I'll send it to you now that we know you're okay and that you. I heard viral. I'm like, okay, I definitely gotta send this to them. But I got it. Looked like honestly, when I saw it with my own eyes, I was like, "Oh my God, he broke his neck." But when I watched it in slow motion, you did an incredible job going over that rope and really bracing, as much of the impact as you possibly could. I'm sure there was a big
Thank
impact.
you.
I didn't
I
see
appreciate
it, but yeah, talk
that.
about that a little bit, dude.
So I mean, obviously, it's something I've had to think about because even at practice, like we'll practice going in and out of the ropes a million times, and sometimes it feels dumb, but I mean, clearly it worked out in the end. And so I this is a typical move that I would do too, like whip the guy into the buckle, hit the neck breaker. So I just, calm, cool, collected. I whip him off, hit the rope. It just goes. So I just got to go with the flow. I was able to grab my left hand right onto the middle rope and like just kind of fall over. And honestly, I'm so incredibly grateful that I didn't hit my head on the guardrail because
No.
we were on the side where the guardrail was like
So
here.
tight,
And
so tight.
yeah, and I was like, I was just so incredibly happy that my head didn't hit it. And honestly, once I knew I was okay, I was just happy that it happened because realistically, it created kind of a cool moment.
It
Like
was.
you could, I heard people in the front row like, "Oh my God, was that supposed to happen?" No, it was
No,
not. You can't plan that if you tried.
I
And
got. I said that to people too that was saying that. I go, no, that wasn't planned.
yep.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like you just gotta go with the flow and like reaction. You know what I mean? Like as soon as it happened, I'm just like, okay, I gotta go with it. And I feel like it actually ended up having a better finish to the match because realistically, we just got screwed over. The rope went. That's not on us.
Yeah.
And
So
you
I
guys were the show of the night. I mean, especially after that to continue. You didn't continue to show for like 30 more seconds. You guys continued the match for another like 5 minutes. Like that was like even the more impressive part was that you kind of jumped right back into action and to set it up. I believe it was a tag. I believe you had just kind of tagged, and
yeah
obviously, picture perfect in there for a little bit, taking a little bit of a beat, and you come in, the high energy, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 within like 5 seconds, that kind of happened. But the energy was up because you kind of got up and the show goes on. I mean, Mick Foley got thrown off the Hell in the Cell, right? You flipped over the rope. It's your Mick Foley moment, you know?
well, and that was the thing too is I wasn't the only one that took a beating too because he actually sprained his ankle during the match,
No
and there was
kidding.
numerous times where both of us were asked like are we calling it? And we both agreed after the show that was completely worth it and like some of the most fun we've ever had.
Yeah.
Like the rope snapping, him spraining his ankle. After all was said and done, it was a good show, and that's what I cared about. Both of us were healthy enough, so
God, I mean, for you to sprain your ankle, I'll be honest, I would have never known. I mean, I have a ton of clips. I mean, now I'm gonna go back and study it like I'm a football coach again. But God, like I would have never known that. So again, that kudos to you, tip of the cap to you, dude, for you to do that. How early on the match was that?
It was some point on the outside. So sometime in the beginning of the match, when they brought me to the outside, they threw me into the barricade, and like my feet were facing one way, and my body was going the other way. So it kind of just twisted. And as
Was
soon
it
as it
right in the
happened,
corner there, like right where the stairs were?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually
Um,
might have video of that too, dude, to be honest with you.
so when it happened, I got thrown into it, and then I kind of like went back, and then I smacked my hands on the stairs, and they had like it was just like icing on the cake. They were like rigid, so I still have the cut on my hand. My hand was all cut up,
Dude,
and I
I
was just
know
like,
exactly those
damn.
stairs, dude. Yeah, those stairs. Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
it's just a
So,
series of bad events. He sprained his ankle, and then he just slaps the stairs, and I just see spikes in his hand. I'm like, dude,
but yeah,
You're
and
like,
then
what's happening right now?
yeah. He goes for the tag, and I just see little holes in his hand. I'm like, what happened?
they rolled me into the ring, and he gives me the pin. He was like, "Are you okay?" Because obviously he knew something was up. I was like, "Nah, I messed up my foot." He's like, "All right, we're going to the finish." I was like, "No, we're not. Like this is the one time I got to shine." I was like, "We're finishing the match," and
That's
then
awesome.
back onto like the rope thing. When the rope, I was climbing up because I just took the beating. So my head was down. I'm climbing up, and I just feel the rope go down. So I looked up. I was like, "Oh my god, he's dead!
I
Like
saw,
he's dead!"
I saw that clip. I just see you go.
Yeah, I was and I didn't know what to do in the moment. I was like, "Do I go check on him? Like this is my best friend."
No, don't worry. The ref went up to you instead of me.
Yeah, the ref comes up to me. He's like, "Is everything okay?" I was like, "Go check on D Rex."
Yeah, like,
He's like, "I will,
I
I will." I
will.
was
I'm on
like,
the other
"No, go
side.
check now." And yeah,
That's crazy.
eventually he went over there. Everything was fine, but
Yeah,
yeah, it
I
was
mean, I
crazy.
was standing there with the camera, and I kept looking at the like. I was like, I kind of wanted to jump in too, but I'm like, I didn't know. Like, yeah, I didn't know if it was my place to, So I just, but yeah, dude, the same thing. I thought the same thing. Like, and obviously you pull the rope, you're like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
is the last thing you expected. But you guys did put on a heck of a match. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I had a few buddies that were there and a few guys that were obviously on the crew kind of working that day, and everybody was like, that was the match of the night. That was the match of the night. I
I
mean, the
think
end was great. The end was great coming out and fighting out in the locker room. I mean, I thought that had like old school like
Oh yeah,
WWE
I
vibes,
agreed
you know what I
completely. Yep.
mean?
you might see me hopping on my foot in those clips.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, I'll go out there, I'll break up the two biggest men
Yeah.
here, no problem.
Oh yeah. And Parker Boudreaux mean mugged me, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I want to take more of a beating tonight. I'm like, all right, stay back a little bit.
You're like, yeah. Um, it's funny. We actually caught that video because I wasn't expecting that, and then that happened. So I was still by ringside. I climbed up the stairs, and I got a pretty good shot of it. But I also got a great shot of someone throwing a full cup and trying to hit them with it from across in the stands and
Oh,
missed and hit the
nice.
camera. It was like kind of I was like, oh my god. So I'm trying to slow it down and make a funny video with it. But yeah, yeah. Well, you might see that come out in the next few days. But no, you guys put on a heck of a show. I mean, I thought overall that show was great. And I liked the first one that I went to, but I felt like every match was like good. Like every match had its like moments of shine and moments that I remember. And we walked out of there. In fact, I think they're in Portsmouth. And I texted my buddies being like, because we're looking to do a guys trip. I was like, let's go to Portsmouth. I was like, I'll get you guys front row tickets to Royal Crown. After that, we'll go out. We'll spend the rest of our weekend doing whatever. I was like, I'll do a little work up there. You guys, it's all on me. Like, let's do it. And they were all like, yeah, let's do it.
Same exact
So
game plan that we had. I
yeah.
literally once we saw it was May 30th, I text him and I text like a group of friends. I'm like, let's make a boys trip out of this because that was a
Yeah.
great show, and I definitely want to go back for sure.
They were great. They were, I mean, you guys have probably worked with a lot of other promotions, so I don't know what is comparably, but God, I will say, like Jose was very high on you guys at the beginning, and when we chatted about the show afterwards, like he just mentioned that, and I said, I was like, yeah, it's not believable that they're 17 years old, and then hearing a sprained ankle, a cut hand, a flip over the rope and hitting your head, like you guys, and I'm not just saying because you're in front of me, like you handle that like pros. Like that stuff I didn't even know. I mean, I knew about going over the top, but like the other two stuff I didn't know. And I definitely have that clip of you hitting your hand off the thing. I
I
know I do.
definitely
I'm
need
gonna
that.
send it to you
I
guys right
definitely need
after.
that.
I know I do.
I
And I
smacked it. I
remember
was just
those
like, ooh,
stairs. You still
yeah,
have the mark on your hand?
yeah. It's there's
Look
like
at that,
three. I don't know
man.
how good you can see it on the camera,
I can
but
see it, dude. It's like it looks like the Bermuda Triangle. It looks like an isosceles triangle. Um, well, so what happens next now? You guys have had other shows. Like, walk me through how this works a little bit. Are you guys now you kind of free agent yourself out there a little bit to other kind of organization? I mean, how does that work as far as you guys finding work?
So like Royal Crown was really our first taste of like branching out a little bit more as a team. Like this is the first show that we did together as a team outside of like our mainstay promotion, Showcase Pro Wrestling. So I mean, after a show like that too, like getting the taste of it, we've been talking like different promotions. We definitely want to like,
branch out.
yeah, for sure, go some
Yeah, I
more
mean, you guys
places.
should. You guys should. Honestly, as someone who just loves watching wrestling, and I covered all those matches ringside. I mean, I was there for all of them. Your match was just like, yeah, it was just kind of like nonstop. And I argue it was the longest match of the night. I mean, I don't know what the timing
Probably.
on it was, but it felt like if I went back and really thought about it, I was like, that was the longest match too. And obviously the maybe the stoppage little tiny bit, but it wasn't a real stoppage. It really just kept going after you went over the top. So, but I mean, I don't know if they keep official records of that stuff, but I'd be curious. I would think that you guys, it felt like you guys had the long, maybe the last match you guys rivaled each other, but it felt like you guys put on a heck of a show. Did you walk out of there? I mean, obviously you walked out of the walking wounded, right? But maybe the next morning it settled in. But did you guys walk out of there being like, we put on a hell of a show? Like, did you feel that?
Yeah.
Like hearing those like those words, especially, definitely we appreciate that because I mean he can attest to this. When we got to the building, we got there with like an hour before the show started too because of traffic and everything. And we were both scared shitless. Like I was so incredibly nervous because this is our first time going there, and we didn't know like how are the people gonna react. Like, are we just gonna pop these confetti cannons and no one's gonna like care? You know what I mean? And especially for him too, because he hasn't really, besides like we said, Showcase Pro Wrestling, hasn't gone a ton of places, and especially as a tag team like us together, both incredibly nervous. And afterwards, I just like getting compliments from everybody. Especially with like the top rope thing and everything like that, like everybody giving us as a team props, like felt really, really cool. Like
Yeah.
I'm definitely excited to go back.
Yeah. I mean, I felt that. I mean, as I said, I talked afterwards. I mean, we had one of our buddies, John Luca, join the first group that was on. Those guys were so funny. But he was in the blue jumpsuit and he was kind of walking around with them.
Oh
But
yeah,
I was driving him and his mom home. He mentioned you guys, and I was like, they're 17, dude. Did you know they're 17 years old? And I was like, remember when you were 17 dressing up as a wrestler all the time, but it was I don't know what I was more impressed with, the match or like the maturity, and now hearing the added on maturity to it, I'm like, God, like, yeah, and again, that's why I threw it out there to whoever's dad just to be like, hey, this is what I do and this is what I cover. It's a little bit different, but You guys are young, same age. I have a lot of high school kids on this podcast. It just kind of made sense. As far as high school goes, do you like your buddies know you wrestle? Like, do they come to a lot of your shows? Is this well known in your high school? Like, are you taking kids on like in the gym at some point? Like, is this gonna happen? Like, what's going on?
So for me personally, because we don't go to the same school, I go to school in Woonsocket. He goes to school in Cumberland. For me, I'm kind of just like, I'd say like the black sheep. Like I don't really talk to much people, and the people that I do talk to, they know that I wrestle, but like they don't know how far this stuff really goes and like the time and dedication that we put into this.
Not me, man. As soon as I started, I had to let everybody know. Like when I first started training, because I just had my birthday party and everything like that. Like I had shirts made and everything. Like I was good to go. Like and it was they were awful. I will give you the heads up. They were awful. I had a half-assed man bun, and it just said D-Rex under a picture of me. But wrestling, everybody knew that was my main thing. Like that was what I was most into. So I let everybody know. And I mean, some people I'm not even friends with anymore. Like I would get groups together to go because even if you're not a wrestling fan,
It's
if there's
cool.
like
Yeah,
those
it's
two or
cool.
three people like that are entertaining, you can get a good crowd together and get into it. Like I know tons of friends, tons of family, and not even just seeing us, like seeing other guys on the show, and they're like, that was really entertaining. It was like watching a mini movie. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the stuff I love about wrestling, like the entertainment factor, and that's why I knew I wanted to do it because I feel like there's some people that kind of lack it, and bringing that kind of energy, I feel like gets the crowd into it, gets people that wouldn't normally watch into it. So I actually, when I won my first championship, I wore it to school
Ah,
under my
there you
hoodie.
go. There you
Yep.
go. That's what I would do too.
Yes.
So you wore a belt to school.
Did.
Were people just like, what is this? Like, what do you just walking around on your shoulder? Was it around the waist?
Oh, so it was around the waist, and I don't think many people questioned it because everybody in my school knows. Like they, a lot of people know me as D Rex than my actual name. Like
What is your
even
actual
teachers,
name?
it's Dayton. So I'm
Okay, so it is
Dayton
a D.
Noah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is a D. It's actually a
Okay.
nickname I got when I was like 8 years old playing football. My dad just randomly called me it. I'm like, oh, I like that. Going into wrestling, I'm like, there's a lot of cool hyphen wrestlers like X Pac, so might as well go
Right.
for it, you know.
I think that's
And
great.
yeah, I everybody knew that that was my thing, and even teachers. I'll have teachers call me D Rex, and some have even gone to shows and things like that because
That's awesome.
it's such a big part of my life that it can't not be a part of my personality. You know what I mean?
You gotta like record something in school, like walking into the calf or something like that, and just like cutting a promo on someone. You should do that stuff in school all the time. Like, worst case, you get a detention. Who cares? But imagine
That's
the
fine.
viral things you get. You know what I mean? Like
I'm in my senior year. It's okay.
that. Expect you can get away with it the most probably now. This is the time frame right here. You know. That's cool though. I wonder that. I was like, God, I wonder how much they talk about this high school. I mean, for me, when I was a kid, my younger brother and my cousin, we would have hardcore matches all the time. We rolled up tinfoil and like made them look like they were tacks. We had tables. We actually went through so many tables of putting each other through that our parents got like so mad at us that we like chipped in and bought tables just so we could have our matches. And we'd do it in the basement, like when they were upstairs. And if they come down, we like immediately pretended we were playing like poker or playing cards. Like we would wrestle nonstop. So like I hear this stuff, this just brings me back to being like a teenager, being like I was
That's
having
peak
wrestle matches in
childhood
my
right there.
basement constantly.
Yep. As peak childhood. That's how all of us are, man. Like
Yeah.
just I would get in trouble for like wrestling cousins every single family event,
All the
but
time.
I can't get it like I can't get it out of me, man.
Dude,
It's the funnest thing.
there's like parties. They had a party over here one time at the Rex family house. They had a bouncy house, and me and this guy are just doing wrestling moves on each other and on the little kids and stuff.
Oh yeah, like grown ass teenagers already wrestling in a natural ring, and we're in the bouncy. I was like, oh Rexplex, picture perfect. Yep.
I actually just had a video up on my Instagram and I had to take it down because I got overruled. But it, my son and I were wrestling and it was like ding, 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 and it was like a hardcore match. I just had the pillow, and he came, and I didn't swing the pillow very hard, but it just was like hit him with the right, and he went flying down, and I caught him right before he hit his head off the
Cool.
ground. And
Yeah.
I was saying things, I was like, "This is viral. This is gonna go viral." And then immediately, family members started texting me, being like, "I can't believe you posted this. Looks terrible." Blah blah blah. I'm like, God, if I was a kid, I would love to see my video of my dad crushing me over the head with a pillow. Like, America's Funniest Home Video, he win $10,000 awards for that stuff, right? Like. But I took it down. I was overruled. But there's always the inner wrestler in me that is always thinking like, I'd go see an independent show, no problem. I'd go see AEW somewhere. I'd go see WWE somewhere. Like, in the moment, no problem. I mean, that is my childhood. Like, God, I still watch wrestling. But, um, here's like a last question I'll ask you. And I ask a lot of athletes this question. I'll ask you guys this in kind of your own way. I mean, what's your advice to young kids? I mean, you both started at a young age, 14. Is that like beginning of high school or end of middle school? Where were you guys there?
It was about like for me at least, it was the summer after middle school.
Okay, so right before you went to high school. Got it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for you guys, like that's committing at a young age, training. Obviously, you guys have talked about injuries prior to this match that you had, and you're recovering from that, and some of them being like serious injuries. My question to you is what's your advice to young kids out there that are in love with wrestling like you are, that want to pursue it, want to make it a career, want to try to make it to the pinnacle of it, the top of it? What's your advice to those kids who are just starting out? Because you guys are just starting out too, but there's an even rewind part of starting off at a very young age like you guys did.
I'd say the best thing is to just shoot for your dreams because everybody, I'm sure he's heard it too, but like nobody believed that I was actually going to be wrestling. Everybody said like, "Oh, it's just a phase. You'll grow out of it." So like, especially like when I got one of my first wins, I just laid down in the ring and I just looked up and I was just like, "Wow, like I really did this." After everybody said that I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, same thing with him. Obviously, it's an overshot dream. Like, that's not a lot of people get to do it. You know what I mean? And for the longest time, I told people, and then they would see me like, for example, like Autumn Fest or different shows like that as a referee, and I'm like, this isn't what I want to do. And I knew I wanted to be a wrestler, and then I got that opportunity. I've been running with it since. So I would say start as soon as you can because like legit, I tried to start when I was like 13, and they had told me I can't until I'm 15, like just because of paperwork and things like that. But I knew like this is what I wanted to do, and instantly starting like at the age that we both started at, you're gonna stick out because we're still going like to school every day. You know what I mean? Everything like that, and it's just with the passion that we have for it, it was worth committing at such a young age. And some days it sucks for sure. Like it's hard, but it's worth it because it's all we've ever wanted since we were little.
I mean, that's great advice, and I find that so interesting because of the fact that you mentioned something in it. It's not easy, right? I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy to commit to something. It's not easy to put your body through something all the time. And truthfully, I think for that, that's probably the most credit you guys deserve of sticking it out and doing it because it is. I'm sure there's days you wanted to quit. I'm sure there's days that you didn't want to do it. And who knows you better than you, right? Like I heard you guys mention before, like with your other answer that like other people. And I feel the same way about this podcast when I first started it. People thought I was crazy. I was a little bit on the older side starting this. But I knew the demographic and I understood the need for it, especially in the world of high school sports. But as we grow and we explore, we realize that there's just a lot of amazing things going on out there. And this is an amazing story. You guys are betting on yourselves. And I think that's such an important message to understand. No one knows who's going to put more work into something than you do. And you know that you're the type of people that are going to work hard and pursue a passion and pursue a dream because that's something you want. Nobody else can tell you otherwise because nobody knows you better than you. So, yeah, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of naysayers. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of people being like, you're what? And blah, 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 blah. But I also know what I saw last weekend. And I know what like, and I've seen a lot of wrestling shows. You guys are mature. You guys know what you're doing. You know how to win over an audience. You seem like you have an army of a support system behind you. So keep going with that because the stuff in the ring is great. You're only going to get better at that stuff. But it's the other stuff that you guys have too, the hard work, the maturity, the grind, the understanding of it, the respect for the wrestling that is going to put you guys over the top and keep growing and growing and growing as a team. Um, My last question to you guys, I know I just kind of blew your heads up there a little bit, but I mean every word that I said. I wouldn't say
Thank
unless
you,
I
man.
meant
I
it.
appreciate that a
It's great.
lot.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Congrats on the 180th episode, by the way.
I
Just wanted to
appreciate that.
shout that
We're
out.
Oh yeah.
20 away. We are 20 away. And I will tell you, we set a goal in 2023. We taped our 100th episode at the studio. And we finished it. We're very good friends with the guy who owns the studio. And afterwards, I said to him, I said, I will be back here in July of 2025 to do our 200th episode. And he kind of laughed. He's like, that's like 50 episodes a year. I'm like, yeah, it's like an episode a week, basically. And I'll take Christmas week off because that's like my week just to, as a teacher, I take off and I just don't want to do anything. So those are my 2 weeks I'll take off and then I'll continue and do it, you know? And we're close. You guys are 180. We're 20 away. We're about April. I might have to grind it out to the finish line a little bit, but whatever it takes, like you guys say, right? My last question to you guys is if you had a chance to wrestle any tag team, present or past, who would you guys want to take on in your next match?
Oh man.
That's a thinker. I know that's a thinker.
So realistically, like on a local basis, I would say there's a tag team in the New England scene called Waves and Curls, and we definitely match their vibe and very similar like characteristics and everything like that. So that would be my answer for like a local team. What about you?
I'd say the same exact thing. I was thinking that. I was like, oh, if he says that, then we'll go with it because that's with our whole gimmick. That was like the first thing that came to mind as soon as we started doing this.
Now, who are these guys? Who are these guys? I've never heard of them.
So there's a lot of promotions that they work for. I know.
They were actually on AEW
Yeah,
Dark.
Okay. Okay. So
yeah,
they're pretty
they're a
legit.
big local team, and we didn't when we wanted to use the confetti cannons. One of the first things that popped into our mind is, uh, are they going to think that we're just stealing from them because that's something that they do? And so we reached out to them and got their blessing and everything like that. So now we know that they're super down to earth as well. Who do you think it for like a big leagues though?
Ooh.
Yeah, let's get a big league answer in here. I like that.
Ooh. Big leagues. There's so many.
I like the Street Profits, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Street Profits.
Ooh,
I was
that's
one
a
of
good
them.
one. That's a great one, actually.
I was thinking New Day, Kofi and Xavier Woods.
Oh yeah, yeah. Grew up with them. Yeah, yeah.
But if we're throwing it back just a little bit, Evolution,
I thought you were gonna say the Shield. I'm not gonna lie.
Shield too,
Shield.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be great.
There's so many. There's so many. I can't pick one.
I mean, God, how good when you look at Evolution now, Jeepers Creepers, what a group that was, huh? Like
Yeah.
from Flair down. I mean, all of them Hall of Fame careers, right? Like all, I mean, Orton's still going,
Yeah.
and looks better than ever, honestly. Um, wow, yeah. I mean, the Shield obviously speaks for itself, right?
Usos too. I like the Usos a lot.
I mean,
Grew up
Usos.
with them.
I listen. I watched wrestling for a long time, and I would say that I say this more confidently than I would have said this 5 years ago. Usos got to be up there as top three tag teams of all time. I'd
Oh,
argue the
sure.
best, maybe the
Yep, I
best.
agree completely.
You know,
I
I
think
love
especially
that.
as a recent too, because like if you would have told me 7 years ago that they were gonna separate and both be like Jay's like the biggest star in the business right now. If you would have
Right?
told me that, I would have not believed you because genuinely I couldn't tell them apart. Like
Yeah.
we would collect the action figures and look, and I couldn't tell which one was which.
Yeah.
So now looking, and one of them's literally about a main event WrestleMania. Like that's awesome. And then they come together as a team. It's these two main eventers now. Like
Yeah,
that's
I mean it's really cool, and yeah, like, I agree with you. If you asked me that, I would have said the same thing. And it's funny you mentioned the action figures. My dad just like recently sold his house, and so we went in there. When I left in my 20s, the one thing I went in my basement and did was I kind of wrapped up a lot of my old stuff because I was like, I don't know when I'm going to come back and ever get this, but I know that I would want to. And so when he sold the house, he's like, you guys got to come in the basement, and a lot of your stuff. And it was a lot of stuff down there, but I had like certain boxes that were designated, and I like brought them all in my car, and some of them were heavy, and they were all taped up and wrapped up. My father's like, "What's in here?" I was like, "All my old WWE action figures," and
yep.
he looked at me like he was disgusted with me, and he's like, "That's what's wrapped up in these boxes." I was like, "Yeah, these two boxes are full of like the rubber ones all the way up until like." I mean, probably a lot older than you guys would remember. But I would say like, yeah, like Big Boss Man, like I mean, all those action
Yeah.
figures, like all those guys, like old school ones, everything. And he like couldn't believe it. Like when I opened up, he was like hysterically laughing. I was like, look how great a shape they're in. Like, and I had
Oh,
wrapped them all up.
dude, going back to how we bonded, like I'm not trying to expose you right now,
It's
but
cool.
we are both like huge wrestling nerds and action figure nerds. So like that was another thing we bonded over is we both have rooms with like walls
Full,
covered in shelves.
full
Like
figures.
it's just been a hobby ever since I got introduced to wrestling. And that was another thing. Like I texted him, I was like, "Hey, you collect?" And he sent me a picture of like shelves upon shelves upon shelves. We would like trade figures and everything like that because it's just another thing to bond over.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really
Yeah.
cool. Well, listen, you guys have been great to have on here today, and I meant it. Even the maturity I saw in the ring, I see it here. You guys definitely vibe well. It's funny, you guys are different people, and you kind of mentioned that about how you talked about being wrestlers in school, and I think that's what makes you an even better team. Honestly, is no great successful team is two people the same exact thing, right? I mean, that's what makes great tag teams great tag teams is the personalities are different. So keep that going, guys. You great. And yeah, you guys, and I say this confidently. Hopefully, other wrestlers don't see this, but I thought you guys put on the best show of the night by far. And,
Thank
and
you,
I
man.
and I mean that, and I say that confidently. I don't want any of them to beat me up when I go to the next show, but I mean that. Like I was very impressed. I thought you guys and the other team too. I thought you guys you clicked really well. You guys mentioned it, which was like kind of confirmed all that stuff for me. But we're a huge fan of you guys. Anything going forward, and I mean this. Like if you guys are wrestling locally at all, let us know. If we don't have a game that we're covering or a film that we're doing, like I'd come down to a local show just to watch you guys, but I would definitely film a little bit for you guys just so you have something.
Hell yeah.
But I think you guys are doing all the right things, and you are on your way to becoming something special. Just don't forget us little people that knew you guys were gonna be something when you do become something.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot, man.
Thank you.
I
Seriously.
yeah, we enjoy I enjoy this a lot. This is one of my favorite episodes I've done for sure.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
us.
thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So guys, listen up. We got some coverage coming up this week. We got Medford High School baseball. We are doing our second docu series. So we're really excited. We've been to a couple
Do
practices.
that.
I love the swing of the bat. That
Thank
was
you.
great. We got to take a picture of that next time.
There you go.
But we'll be covering them again. They got their scrimmage, so we'll be seeing them in action for the first time. So we're really excited about that. We have a few other fun things coming up as well. We're emceeing an event at the end of April. We'll talk about that in the next episode. But these guys right here, unbelievable tag team, 17 Jump Street, 17-year-old kids that wrestle like they're 17-year veterans in the sport. So honored to have you guys on here. So this is Anthony from Beyond Podcast. Till next time.